Morning, Yas. We're here in Aachen. Talk us through what happened yesterday.
We had a good day yesterday. It was day one of competition, so we did the dressage in the morning and then we had the show jumping in the evening. And we had a lovely dressage test. He was very consistent and it was a very clean test, so we scored a 30.1 in very good company, which was delighted with. And then we went on to the show jumping in the evening in this huge atmospheric stadium behind us. And he jumped incredible actually. The crowd really lifted him up and the atmosphere was so good for him, and he didn't actually touch a pole, so I'm really pleased with how he jumped. And then we're now on cross country morning now, and it starts at 9:30 and we go at 10 to 12 today, so fingers crossed.
So we went out and had a look around the course this morning. Take us through the course. What do you think will be the tricky combinations?
So we start off obviously out the start box. Fence 1, 2 and 3 are fairly simple fences just to get you going in your rhythm, and then the real questions start when we get to fence 4AB, and we've got sort of a roll top on a mound running 4 strides down to a skinny, so that should be a nice first question to sort of get them looking for the flags and forward thinking. And then we move on to fence 5, which is a set of rails just before the water. And then at fence 6 we have a very, very large drop down into the water over sort of like a hanging log, and then we sort of bend to the right to a very narrow corner sort of positioned in the middle of the water at fence 7, which is quite a good question. So we need to land down over the drop and then sort of regain balance and get the momentum going again for the corner. And then we do a left bend to a double of shoulder brushes at fence 8AB. So there's 1 stride in between those, so we just have to make sure that we keep the rhythm again and keep the pace up so we don't get sort of backwards and underneath the first part. And then we move onwards to another simple fence, sort of at fence 9, a bit of steeplechasey kind of one. And then again we come to quite a difficult question at fence 10, 11. So it's a Normandy bank style fence when you step up onto the mound, which is quite a steep step up, I would say. 1 stride to quite a skinny fence at fence 11 on top of the bank. So that will require quite a lot of accuracy and just pace up to the ditch as well and the step up, because you need to be able to sort of make it up there with good power. So we land over fence 11 and do a sweeping left turn to a gate at fence 12. And then we do a sweeping right bend to a double of gates at fence 13AB. So that's quite an intense sort of section up there. Then we gallop on down to fence 14, which is a corner sort of positioned off sort of a rock. So it's quite a good accuracy test to make sure that we've got our correct line, and we need to make sure we ride that properly and not underestimate it. And then fence 15, we've got quite a big chicana, brush chicana, which has got quite a large ditch underneath it, so we need to be not looking at the ditch. And then we run round to fence 16, A, B, C, D, which is the coffin combination. So we've got quite a tall set of rails on a slope down to a ditch at B, and then very, very steep 2 strides up to C, which is an owl hole, which is quite a narrow owl hole. So we need to make sure we're dead straight and we're looking between the flags and between the owl hole at the C element. And then after the C element, we've got a bending 4 stride line to a skinny. So that will require sort of once you've jumped C, you need to be able to gather up the balance and then ride a nice sweeping curving line to D on 4 strides. And then we move on to fence 17, which is just a set of rails coming out of a sort of like a crater. So that will need to be ridden sort of with good balance so we can push up to the rails and get a good shot at the rails. And then we come to fence 18 ABC, which is a brush sort of hanging log, and then a very steep slope down to again shoulder brushes, shoulder tractors they are, and they're quite skinny, so we need to make sure we're very straight there. And there's quite a forward 1 stride in between those shoulders, so we need to make sure we've got a good bit of pace and power to make it through there nicely on the 1. And then we have the second water complex, which is just sort of a roll top with a blue roof on in the middle of the water, so a little quick splash through there over the table at 20, and then we come to the corner combination sort of towards the end of the course now, so hopefully there'll be well thinking forward by this point and looking between the flags. So we've got a orange set of rails. Just before the orange set of rails, we've got quite a cool little like platformy thing to go under. And then we jump the rails, and then we do four sweeping strides right to a corner. And then again 3 strides again on a sort of bend round to another corner. So that's quite a good accuracy test for towards the end of the course. Horses will be probably getting a little bit tired, coming up to sort of the 6-minute marker, 6.5 minutes. But then we run into the main arena, which should hopefully give them a bit of a boost, and it would just sort of light them up a bit, hopefully. And then we go to the flower box in the main arena, so that's at fence 21, I think, yep, 21. And then we have the last water complex, which is sort of a drop into the water and a splash out sort of thing. It's a water splash, which would be nice for them to get their feet wet again, a bit of cool
them down.
Exactly. And then we have the last combination on course, which is a corner, but quite a tight corner actually, especially for the end of the course, brush corner. And we need to make sure we're really good on our line there, because it's quite a long 3 strides to the skinny at B. And then we have a very short distance to the last fence and then through the finish. So it's quite an intense course with lots going on. But hopefully by the time they go around, they'll sort of gain confidence and things, and yeah.
Because a couple of the fences have got driving obstacles around them as well. Could that distract any of them? Yeah,
definitely. I think there's lots to look at here. It's not just the fences you've got to worry about, it's almost like the atmosphere and the all the obstacles around it, the show jumps and the driving fences, so there's definitely plenty to look at for them.
Any fence in any particular that worries you, or things that you need to just sit back and...
No, I think the whole course needs good attention, if that makes sense. It's definitely not one to be sort of underestimated. Yeah, so I think we'll have to be on the ball the whole way around.
We've just watched the first rider come home. We're watching them from just over halfway around the course. It looks to be quite a tight time.
Yeah, I think it'll end up being quite tight. Not many people usually would get the time here. It's one of those really difficult ones to try and keep the pace up the whole way around, because there's so many technical questions. So I think it will be quite difficult to get the time here. But it'll be good to watch a couple this morning and just sort of get my bearings a bit and see what everyone's doing, all the combinations.
Any particular people you're going to go and keep an eye on?
I would definitely say a couple of the German riders, and then obviously we've got a couple of Brits that are going early on, so I'll definitely keep my eye on them, and hopefully they'll be able to sort of report back as well and sort of give us some information, the ones that are going a bit later on, so yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Yas. We'll let you go and probably walk the course again.
Yeah.
Go and have a snooze.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much.